Hi, this is Alicia. I'm going to show you guys some sites that I use with my students and some sites that I use personally frequently. This website is called podwaddle.com. I know it's got a really funny name, but it's actually one of my favorite websites that I use with my students. It's got a lot of different features. You kind of have to play around with the website, but what I use is the world clock, and I use this with my living environment class to show my students some interesting information regarding human population, disease. One of the areas that I like to go to is population, which is over here on the left-hand side. And when I teach my students about why the human population is exploding, I can show them the actual numbers here and show them how the birth rate is more than double the death rate, and then they get really interested to look at the other things like how many males there are to females, and which country has the greatest population. Also by age, also teaching them how people are living to older ages. That's also why the population's increasing, growing exponentially. We can also look at deaths, which the students love to look at, but I try to limit this because some of the things on here are a little morbid, but they find interesting things to look at. Also illness. You can look at the environment, which is also great for science. So over here it shows me the emissions for like carbon dioxide and other things that we may use. Energy, which is really cool too, shows you the amount of oil that's getting pumped. And as you can see, all the numbers are changing, so it's showing you real time. And then you could change all of this by month by clicking up here at the top of the website, week, in which all the numbers change, day, and then now, which zeroes everything out and then starts counting everything from when you click that button. You can also pause things, which I did right now, and then if I were to wait like another minute, I would see a large jump in the numbers. So that's kind of a cool feature for this website. Also the crimes, I don't usually show that to my students. It could be a little, morbid, but I'm sure that they probably log on at home and check that out themselves. Food, what do we consume and how much of it that we consume. And then there's other options up here, but it's a really cool website that I use. Another website that I use for my general science students, similar to actually Audra, what she was showing you guys, is weatherchannel.com, which everybody has been probably using as of recently with all this snow we've been having. But I like to focus on the maps, and I usually can go to either the U.S. current weather map or I can go to the temperature. But recently I've been teaching my students about weather, so I will pull up the day's weather map, and then I'll have them come up to the smartboard and get to play the meteorologist for the day and explain, what all of these contour lines mean and the fronts and the pressure systems. So that's kind of a cool website for them to use. Another website that I also really like is by the USGS, and it's basically an earthquake tracker. It's sort of similar to the other website I showed you where it's showing you earthquakes in real time all across the world. We can click on for the past 8 to 30 days. I can click on significant earthquakes. I can go and focus on different areas of the world, and then it shows you based on the intensity. So the yellow ones aren't as intense as, let's say, the red ones here, so that's why there's fewer of these red ones. I show my students about the Ring of Fire and where all the earthquakes are located, so it's a pretty cool website. Another website that I use frequently is YouTube. This particular video is really cool. I'm just going to show you guys a little preview here. When I teach in my living environment class about glucose, this kind of gets the students excited. So. Alright, so that's a familiar song for everybody. However, I also feel that this is probably a site that could probably adversely affect our current students, because many times my students will give me little lists of videos to look up at YouTube, and most always they're like horribly embarrassing or inappropriate or just strange. So I'm always baffled that my students can find these odd things on Facebook, and most of it's usually not appropriate. So I would say that this website has its benefits for educators, but it also is probably adversely affecting our youth. A website like that I probably use most frequently maybe could be Facebook. I don't really follow any blogs or chats or Twitter, but I do join Facebook and I go on here and I check out what's going on, and I usually see if anybody left me any notes or anything like that, and that's pretty much it. And then probably the other most common website that I use is Yahoo. I really like their news articles over here. Like, I can go on here and see what's going on with President Obama and other things. They have all these articles over here of just current, recent news, interesting things. Many times I'll even find some interesting science news that's going on here, and I'll share that with my students too. But that's all I have for you guys today.